Welcome. It's Indisputable. I'm your host, Richey. Good to be with you. We got a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day. My contributor, Wosny, Rebel HQ contributor, host of Woke Bros, writer at The Ringer. Should be a fascinating breakdown. Top story of the day. There's a man who has been accused of impersonating the police in a place called Acworth, Georgia. How did he get caught? Well, he was in his fake police car and he decided to engage, according to the report, his emergency lights in front of the chief of police for Acworth, Georgia. And he got pulled over. Let me give you some background. Put up the picture full mass here. Now, damn it, does that not look like a police uniform to you? Now let's keep this picture up for a minute. We have covered multiple stories about individuals impersonating the police. I don't understand this. I don't know why anyone would want to impersonate being the police. I'd rather impersonate being a crack dealer than impersonate being a cop. But that's on him. That's on the individual. Let's go to the background. The Acworth police said a man was arrested for impersonating an officer and using emergency lights inappropriately. The Acworth police say it was the man's car that first caught their attention. They saw his uniform next. It seemed a lot like his own. Investigators say he also had a radio and a utility belt with magazines for the gun. I mean, this guy came in full apparel. Let's look at the car. So the vehicle is actually an old police car with all the bells and whistles of a police vehicle. As a matter of fact, line by line, this car, the fake police car, was better than their real police cars in Acworth, Georgia. When Acworth Police Chief Wayne Denard noticed that the driver of a car had turned on a red and white flashing emergency light to make his way through the traffic, he had his officers pull him over. The police body camera video shows the chief asking the driver about the emergency lights. Mr. Denard said, and I quote, "Why all these emergency lights?" Denard said, and I quote, "Did I see you use emergency lights to get out on Lake Acworth Drive?" The Dodge Charger was an old police car that still had the bells and whistles. It still had the spotlight on it, the push bar on it, the rear lights of the vehicle near the tag, the lights in the rear window, the front windshield and side lights of the vehicle, and also the prisoner compartment in the rear of the car, according to a corporal. It had everything, including the back seat. It still had those items. Now, typically, if you purchase one of these old police cars from an auction or from another dealer or broker, it's stripped of these capabilities unless you decide to restore them. So we don't know the information to that yet. He also showed them a badge. Here's the badge, okay? So here's what's happening right now. You have the real police pulling over the fake police. The fake police has engaged his emergency lights in front of the police chief. He gets pulled over. He's talking about why he has emergency lights, and then he pulls out a badge. What is this man thinking? That's the badge. The driver was wearing a uniform which looked very much like a police uniform. Patches on both shoulders called Georgia, a name tag, rank insignia on his collar, and other decorations that made him appear to be a police officer. The person in uniform also hoisted the badge. Who is he? The suspect, 33 years of age. His name is Gerardson McKay. Said the uniform was actually for his company. Now he got an explanation here. The uniform was for his company, which is a funeral escort service. Can we go back to the picture of him in uniform again? Now, I've attended a few funerals in my lifetime. I have never seen a funeral escort service wear a police outfit, maybe an all black suit, but not that. But that is his affirmative defense. He also tells the officers that he has a badge because he is an off-duty hero operator. Now, a hero operator in the state of Georgia is a person that typically works for the Georgia Department of Transportation. and they help people, they rescue individuals. So he said, that's the reason I have a badge, all right? Well, they charged him with a few things, cited him for illegal operation of an emergency vehicle. But upon further investigation, detectives learned that he has not been a hero operator since January when the Department of Transportation fired him. McKay was later accused of impersonating a public official. Investigators say it is illegal and dangerous. We don't know what he's doing. He's stopping cars, crossing cars, driving recklessly with his lights on and endangering civilians. Fox Local News reported to McKay, who has been released on bond. They spoke to the guy. He said he never claimed to be an officer. He wanted to tell a side of the story, but had to talk to his lawyer first. All right, I gotta just say this, man, don't look good for you right now. So I don't understand the need to impersonate a police officer. Now, obviously, this is not our first time covering a story like this. Let me tell you why this is important. We have seen instances where individuals who impersonate members of law enforcement or positions of supposed public trust, they utilize that trust in order to violate citizens. And so we bring it to your attention for that reason. Now, we have nothing on the record to say that this person has, let's say, brutalized another individual, violated the civil rights of somebody, okay, as the regular police will do. So we have none of that on record, all right? So obviously he didn't think he was that much of the police. Okay, Woz, what are your thoughts here?
I have too many questions, man. Where do you get this car? That's one. I would really like to know where he got the car, how much he costs, and why are police selling police cars to the public? I don't understand that. Of like, again, if you are stripping this thing down to its bare bones and it just becomes a completely normal car, I don't even know how you could sell a cop looking car to the public, right? Like this isn't even, like some kind of Crown Vic or some of the cars or Impalas or whatever, where it's like, all right, these are cars the general public has. Like this has all the bells and whistles. So that's confusing. And then, it just reminds me, the other day, they had a Comic-Con where a bunch of Game of Thrones people went and people get to dress up as Game of Thrones characters. This guy is cosplaying police just for fun to get out of red lights. And that's all fun and games, and it's hilarious that he's doing that. I really hope he hasn't ran up in anybody's crib, taking stuff off of people. All of the terrible police abuses that we've heard about since police existed, essentially.
Yeah, quite interesting. Okay, we're gonna follow the story because I actually think he's going to launch an affirmative defense. Will be fascinating to see exactly how it lands in court. All right. Cop shoots a black male in the back of the head. Here's the video.
Stop, dude, I'm gonna tase you, stop. Get on the ground, get on the ground right now. Bitch, why you taking me, ho? Bitch. Get on me, man. Come down here, bitch. Wait, I'm gonna shoot you, put that down. I will shoot you. No, bro. You gotta go. Shoot, bitch. Shoot, ho. Shoot. 35 shots fired.
This was in Houston. This was a Houston cop, Dollar General store, parking lot. Roderick Brooks, 47 years of age, was fatally shot by Sergeant Garrett Hardin of the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Hardin is on paid administrative leave while the department investigates the shooting. Let me give you some background as to why 911 was called in the first place. The Harris County Sheriff's Office received a call from a woman who said a black man in a blue shirt, gray shorts, and baseball cap had taken items from the store without paying and hit her. The woman said she did not need emergency medical services. The woman later told the dispatcher that she did not believe the man had a weapon, and she did not think he was under the influence of drugs or alcohol. The dispatcher asked if the deputies would face any threats once they arrived on the scene. The woman responded, no. Just a week, Hardin, the cop, was involved in another incident. Let's go to that incident. Law enforcement sources say that Sergeant Hardin was among the officers who responded to an auto pedestrian accident on the North Freeway in FM 1960. A man who officials said appeared to be under the influence was walking in the main lanes on the overpass and even climbed on the barrier. Once he stepped off and away, Sergeant Hardin used his stun gun on him, sources say. The man went off the overpass, landed about 35 feet below, and was critically injured because of the actions of this one cop. The past incident was a violation of the Houston, police policy. Let's get into it. The HCSO policy states that deputies should avoid using a taser on someone who is on an elevated or unstable surface, such as a tree, a roof, a ladder, ledge, balcony, porch, bridge, or stair. That's in the policy. Or on someone who could, and I quote, fall and suffer serious injury to the head or other area. You see, Sergeant Hardin is a 20-year veteran and also a supervisor with the police department. Let me be very clear. If they would have enforced the rules that they wrote against this cop, if they would have been vigilant about enforcing their own laws with each other as they are about enforcing laws with the community, a person, a man, a black male will be alive today. This is why culture is important in policing. We've talked about this often. It's not just policy. The policy is correct. What they put on paper is right. It's appropriate. But culture eats policy alive every day. Why did a decorated veteran cop, a supervisor of law enforcement, feel comfortable enough to break the policy that he's well aware of? Hell, he probably had a hand in writing it. Why do you think he felt comfortable breaking it? Because he believed nothing would happen to him. He does not respect the human status of the individual in front of him. And he damn sure does not respect the rule of law. Now there's a dead black male shot in the back of the head by this same police officer. Same police officer. This is why it's important for policies like the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act to pass. Because if that act would have been law, the record of that cop would have been made publicly available by way of mandate, by way of law. Every single one of us would have been able to see the history of this police officer. Okay, we don't have a clear photo of the cop. They're playing hide the pickle. Let's put up the sheriff of Harris County. That's the sheriff. His name is Ed Gonzalez. Until we find a proper picture of the officer, he will be the face of this story. All right, Woz, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm immediately reminded of Eric Garner and of course George Floyd, right? Two people who, the reason that it's justified that these guys used lethal force is that they quote unquote resisted. But again, I think that it's important we acknowledge the reason why the police even engaged these individuals. In Eric Garner's case, he was selling loose cigarettes. So that means he probably had 2 packs of cigarettes that he could get off for about $40. And in George Floyd's case, they said that you might have used a counterfeit $20 bill. And then this lady's case that you just showed, the guy was leaving Dollar General with something that would have had to be on his person. So what could he possibly boost out of there? That is so valuable that they're pursuing this dude as if, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you've ever seen the show 24, Kiefer Sutherland, Jack Bauer. These cats really want us to believe that they're pursuing a guy with the intensity of somebody who's about to blow up USC. A game with 60,000 people in it. Like, bro, you're pursuing a guy who might have stole some goods from the Dollar General. I think there's this difference. If this dude is backing up a Brinks truck and emptying a store with tens of thousands of goods, yeah, man, that's a huge loss. We need to do something about that, rectify that as a society. If a dude is stealing $10 worth of stuff from a Dollar General, I think we could be like, all right, we'll probably try to get him next time. And it would be completely fine as a society.
Yeah, and we've lost a common sentiment. And that sentiment is things can be replaced, people cannot. Common, not complex, appropriate, sensible. GOP, the Republicans, they're saying that Jews do not belong in their party. Let me take you to a GOP consultant. Here's a video of a GOP consultant who says this is how he feels. Here it is.
Ben Shapiro and other non-believers, they're not allowed to have a prominent voice in our movement because they don't share our values, okay? So no, Ben Shapiro is not welcome in the movement unless he repents and accepts Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. And the same goes for anybody else too, okay? If you want to be involved in what God is doing in taking back our towns, our cities, our states, our legislatures, and eventually our country, then you got to repent. There's a cost. There's a cost, right? You got to repent and accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, okay? And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, there's more. So a consultant for State Senator Doug Mastriano, a Republican candidate now for governor of Pennsylvania, okay, said on the live stream that Jewish people do not belong in the conservative movement, decided to call out some by name, okay? Now, this is not new. There has been significant anti-Semitic rants from conservatives. Here's more.
Bud, this is a Christian nation. Christians outnumber you by a lot. And we're not gonna listen to 2%. You represent 2% of the country, okay? We're not bending the knee to the 2% anymore. The 98% of the rest of us, 75% of which are Christians, self-identifying Christians, we're not taking it anymore, bud. We are taking back our culture. We're taking back our country. We're taking back our government. So deal with it. There's nothing you can do to stop us because what has been set into motion, it's snowballing now, right? We have Marjorie Taylor Greene openly saying that she's a Christian nationalist. We have Matt Gaetz kind of flirting with it a little bit today with his tweet on Christian nationalism. We have Paul Gosar. We have people in Congress right now, members of Congress right now, who are openly saying that they're Christian nationalists. By Christian nationalists, I mean concerned Christian parents who are done with this, done being controlled and being told what we're allowed to do in our own country by a 2% minority or by people who hate our biblical worldview, hate our Christ, hate our Lord and Savior. Done. It's over.
Sir, you hate your own biblical worldview because Scripture says God is love, which means love is God. You all express no love at any point. It is interesting to note that if you've been paying attention, this should not be new. This should not be a shock. Remember when the white supremacists said Jews will not replace us? And Donald Trump defended them and said, very good people on both sides here. There's more. Andrew Torba, the CEO of Gab, and reportedly a consultant for State Senator Doug Mastriano. Mastriano has come into the public eye in recent weeks after US media outlets reported that he spent $5,000 on advertising on Gab, a social media network favored by the far right. The candidate has also reportedly paid for campaign consulting from the platform, which reports that new Gab users are set to automatically follow him. GOP anti-Jewish issues continues. American Jewish Committee surveys also find 52% of all Americans think the GOP holds anti-Semitic opinions. 82% of US Jews say anti-Semitism on the rise in the last 5 years. The Jewish survey found that an overwhelming majority of Jewish people, 88%, consider this to be a problem, and that most see it as a problem on the right and inside of the Republican Party. Now, this is transpiring in our current political construct. This is happening right now. But once again, when they said they want to make America great again, we told you what it meant. They want to make America Christian, their version of Christian evangelical dynamics, as well as white supremacy. They want to make sure that white men have a voice and everybody else has to ask permission to speak. That's what they want. That is the America they are striving for. These individuals have not really hijacked the conservative party. They brought the conservative party back to their roots. This is what the Republican Party wanted from day one. They did not truly want people to have diversity in thought, diversity in leadership, diversity in political class or political category. They never wanted that. They wanted to say it because it was politically correct, and saying the other thing was not popular enough, not even among their own voters. But now it's getting there. Donald Trump has created the space for white supremacists to say things out loud. Other things that are worrying GOP leaders: Trump's unpaid legal fees. Guess what? Republican leaders who worry that Donald Trump could hurt their midterm chances by announcing a presidential run too soon are hoping he'll be dissuaded from doing so by the prospect of losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal payments. According to the RNC, since October 2021, the Republican National Committee has paid nearly $2 million to law firms representing Trump as part of his defense against personal litigation and government investigations. But an RNC official told ABC News that as soon as Trump would announce he is running for president, the payments would stop because the party has to be neutral and it prohibits them from taking sides in the presidential primary. Fascinating. Wise thoughts here.
The delicate dance these guys have to do with Trump, because they're very annoyed by him, yet understand that he still has his finger on the pulse of the base of the party, is hilarious, right? Normally a party apparatus could bully and muscle people when they want. Like, take the example of the Democrats. Whenever some progressive or person on the left flank of the party gets out of line, Nancy Pelosi and them knuckle that person up. You've seen it countless times with Ilhan Omar. AOC has basically quit fighting them, and it's just been like, I just got to get in line if I want to advance my career in this party. You've seen it over and over again with somebody from the left, Bernie Sanders in his presidential run. Forget about it. They will knuckle those people up. That's it. But you see it when it happens in the Democratic Party. And Republicans used to be the same way with people that got out of line, except Trump is so powerful, so popular, and still holds such a hold over the heartbeat of the party. Not everybody who votes Republican, but the animating population of the party, the people that have the energy. Trump has his finger on the pulse of those people, and they just gotta delicately tiptoe around every single Trump issue, and it's hilarious. It's cowardice.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the Republican Party, they cannot dismiss individuals who animate them to subscribe more so to their ideology, a more conservative ideology. But as you mentioned, on the left-leaning side, in the Democratic Party, individuals who would be catalysts to push people like Joe Biden and others to a more pure agenda, to progressive politics, they tend to isolate, or they make villains out of them. All right, they put them on an island rather than embracing the fullness of our political construct. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay. Welcome back. We got a lot of show left. Let me remind you of the watch list. The big homie, J.R. Jackson. Make sure the watch list is on your watch list. Join J.R. Jackson live weekdays, 12 p.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Watch live daily and follow at facebook.com/watchlisttYT. And subscribe at youtube.com/watchlist Let me read a couple of comments. Okay, Mika C. the Silverhat Dragon says, cops so terrified of the man grabbing the taser and tasing him that he just had to murder him for shoplifting. He couldn't hit the hand on the taser. He had no problem tasing the man, but thought the taser was a threat to his life. I wish a Dragon Wood says, excellent example on why Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz are so dangerous. And C. Michael Henson, thank you, C. Michael. LOL at work at Dr. Richey saying he'd rather impersonate a crack dealer than a cop. That shows how bad policing has gotten in this country. I would have gone with an unhoused person though. I got you. All right, got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
You're still free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Look at this crazy man. Like for real, bro. She want me to hit her.
No, I just want you to put the refrigerator in the house. We can't lift that thing. We don't even have a dolly. We go down to the Home Depot, rent a truck, and pick one up, bring it up. Or have them delivered.
I'm working. We working right now. She's laying under the tire on the truck. Like she wanna die. Is this shit for real?
Karenicity in these OG Karens run deep. Obviously, they've been Karening for many years. Now, the way this particular Karen laid in front of that tire, I don't think this is her first time kidnapping somebody. That is stopping your mobility. That is a crime, okay? Big ups to ATL Uncensored for providing this. Let me go full graphic here so you can see who these individuals are. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Good thing the young brother behind the wheel was sensible. He was respectful. But what is this about? He delivers merchandise. That's his job, to deliver it. Drops it off. Karen, you're supposed to have somebody install it, put it in. He did his job. He has to go do his job for somebody else now. And instead of just saying, you know what? I assume that you are going to install. I see I was wrong here, so I'm going to have to call somebody to install it. Or maybe you be nice to the fella and say, hey, do you mind if I pay you some extra later today to come back and install this for us? Rather than forcing him, committing a criminal act and stopping his ability to be mobile. All right. Woz, what do you see here?
Just more entitlement. It's running rampant. It's actually the second pandemic in this country. It's called the entitlement pandemic. Just the idea that this guy is obliged, or he's obligated, to work for this woman. Like, yeah. Get to work, son. I know you're just supposed to drop this off, but we need you to carry this by yourself up the stairs and do all of this nonsense. And like you said, the humane thing to do would have just been like, hey, like here's some money. Please help us out. We're in a bind here. Yeah. But that would have took some level of humility that clearly this woman doesn't possess.
Exactly. Let's put their pictures up again, full mass. I got some advice for them. Okay. Now, damn it, Karen, next time pay for the premium service. All right, and this won't happen.
Dr. Richey, I just bought a new computer chair on Amazon and they wanted $50 to install it. And I said, nah, I'm gonna pass. I passed on the 50, man.
Were you able to install it yourself?
It's coming on Tuesday.
Okay, well, we'll see. You may end up paying that $50.
I know I'm gonna regret the decision, by the way.
Yeah, you are. You're gonna end up paying that $50. Hell, it may be 70 by the time you get to it. All right, I got something for everybody. Double dose.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
You're still free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Tell me to leave. I have a paycheck here.
You can leave.
You.
Get out. Oh, please. Fine. They're gonna arrest you. You really want to go down that road?
I do.
You are being aggressive unnecessarily.
Give me my money.
I'm not helping you do anything except for
Call the police.
leave.
I'm not
I'm
leaving.
not helping you right now.
I'm not.
I'm
Call the police. Understand that?
Sir, you are way over the top.
Give
Seriously?
me my money and I'll get under the top.
No, I'm not helping you.
Give me my money
I'm not helping you.
and I'll get under the top.
Arthur, I really.
That gets me every time. When that man said, I will get over the top, I'm gonna show you. Give me my money. Okay, this was about him not wanting to wait his turn in line. It is fascinating to me that we have covered a lot of white male Karens who have pleaded people to call the police. I mean, he tells you, call the cops, all right? And nobody seems to ever call the police on them. So his name is Arthur. Arthur was unhappy about having to wait for his check. Let's put up his picture full mass here. He looked like a regular guy in the bank at first, all right? According to the report, this male Karen was eventually escorted outside by the police, where he lingered for an additional 10 minutes. According to the original poster, no information about an arrest happening. Was, when you go to a bank, brother, you gotta stand in line in order to cash your paycheck. There may be some people in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, the only people who don't have to stand in line are like really rich, and the bankers know them by face and name and say, "Come right this way, sir. Let's just help you." The rest of us, yeah, you stand in line. You know what I mean. You make nice with the people on the line, possibly, and you just wait your turn. And that brother was pretty old, doctor. I'm sure he's retired. It's not like he had to run back to work. You know, he's just running back to his programs. He was in a rush to go watch Price is Right, I guess. It was just like, come on, brother, slow down, just chill. And yeah, cash my check and I will get under the top. That's gotta go in the Karen Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I actually think it was a dope line once we figure out what he meant. Okay, all right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay. Welcome back. We got a lot of show left. Let me read some of these amazing comments. I wish you Dragon Wood says, Doc, this is the first Karen video that looks like a horror movie. He can't escape. Was this directed by Jordan Peele? I mean, you're right, he couldn't escape. I mean, he literally was, yeah, that was scary. V says, Dr. Richey be cracking me up. Now, damn it, next time Karen, pay for the premium service. That's right, keep you out of these situations. All right, Eileen, God, no dragon. Will someone please give the male Karen some pink sauce, please? Y'all with this pink sauce. All right. Jenny Popcorn says, please help that man get under the top. See, Michael Henson, thank you again. See, Michael, those Karens in both stories must be married to each other. That'll be a hell of a story. That would be great. Thank you, Laura Estrada. Welcome to Indisputable. You can join right there on the YouTube page. You can just hit join and engage, all right? We would love to have you join. All right, Dissident PM says, it's my money and I want it now. Worst JG Wentworth commercial ever. All right, there you go. Okay, there's a woman, she's at a protest, she decides to disrupt it, and then she wants to spit on a teenager. That's what she did, it's on video, okay? The teenager is suing her. Here's the video. Let's put up her picture as she is in mid-action here, assaulting a teenager. Her name is Stephanie Rapkin. Miss Rapkin wants you to believe that the video you just saw was created by magic and actually does not exist, because she is claiming she did nothing of the sort, and she wants to go to trial to prove her innocence, and her attorneys have dropped her because clearly she cannot say that wasn't me, nor did it not happen. She decided to assault Eric Lucas during a George Floyd protest. There's more background to this insanity, but before I get into the background, let me remind everyone watching that Stephanie Rapkin, Ms. Rapkin, was allowed to leave. Nobody physically harmed her. Nobody physically injured her. But think about this. What if a black woman would have spat on a white Trump supporter during one of their rallies or protests? Do you think she would have been unharmed? Do you think she would have left without injury? No, because the nature of their movement is rooted in violence. The nature of the movements on the left, well, they're rooted in equality, equity, peace, coalition building, love. Let me give you the background. A Shorewood woman was previously charged with a hate crime after being accused and caught on camera spitting at a black teenager during a George Floyd protest. That's according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. She insists, however, she did not do it and wants to go to trial to plead her case. Let's put the picture up again. Okay. Now, I have not finished law school yet. I'm a second-year law student. But even with my 2 years of law behind me, I could prosecute this case with no problem. There it is, right there. Stephanie Rapkin, 66 years of age, too damn old to act this way, was sued by the 17-year-old Eric Lucas for battery and intentional infliction of emotional distress after she allegedly spit on him on June 6, 2020 during a protest. The complaint says Rapkin parked her car in the middle of the street to intentionally disrupt the demonstration. Protesters demanded she move and tried to get around the car. So she's already coming in as an agitator. She's not here because she has somewhere to go. She's not there because of some other reason. She is there to literally disrupt a protest over the murder of an African-American male. Sultan called it appalling that the prosecutors only charged Stephanie Rapkin with disorderly conduct instead of battery, and they would have offered her a deferred prosecution. In such an arrangement, a charge is usually dismissed if the subject complies with specific conditions or requirements over time. And we've talked about this routinely. Prosecutors unwilling to treat these crimes as serious as they are. They would prefer to give a lot of lip service at a press conference or send a statement from the office saying things like, this will not be tolerated in our community. We believe in diversity. And then when it comes to the sentencing, they never throw the book at hate crime individuals like this. Okay, I get it, she's elderly, she's 66 years of age, which one, means she should know better, and two, she's likely been doing this for a long time. She just got caught here, okay? There's more. Rapkin was formerly represented by an attorney named Jason Lukzak. The attorney who successfully moved for dismissal of a hate crime enhancement to the disorderly conduct charge. Okay, so the attorney actually got the hate crime provision dismissed. That benefits the person who engaged in the hate crime. It's Rapkin. If prosecutors had proven Rapkin's actions were racially motivated, the penalty could have been a year in jail rather than 9 months. Ms. Rapkin is also charged with battery on a police officer, a felony for actions she allegedly took during her arrest outside her home the day after the rally. Rapkin has pleaded not guilty to each count. That matter will be tried separately. When she showed up for court for a no contest plea to simple battery, she tried to fire her attorney, Michael Steno, the report says. She told the Milwaukee County Circuit Judge, Jeffrey Wagner, she wanted a trial and that her attorney did not believe a trial was in her best interest, so she fired him. Listen, okay, give her the damn trial, judge. Prosecutor, take her ass to trial and do like you do to everybody else, especially if they're black. If you get found guilty, guess what? You get more time, you get the maximum penalty. That's how you all do it for everybody else. So that's how it should be done for her. Let's stop playing games here, okay? This woman literally rolled up into a crowd, decided to disrupt a peaceful protest, assaulted a 17-year-old child. You all did not give her the charges she deserved, and she wants to keep playing games. I got a game for you. Now, you play stupid game, you win stupid prizes. Your ass gonna be in jail for a year or longer. That's what's about to happen here. Why the kitty gloves? Why? I mean, the 17-year-old who should be treated like a kid has been forced to become an adult very quickly. Not only because of atmospheric issues, things happening in society, but how he was assaulted because of the hate of an older white woman that he now has to take to court and sue because you all won't do your job. Wosny, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just want to first commend the young man for the level of restraint that he showed, because to be honest, man, he should have put hands on that woman straight up and down. Everybody understands that there is basically no level form of disrespect higher than somebody literally spitting in your face. And so I commend him for the restraint that he showed. And yeah, it's unfortunate that the system will not actually punish this woman for her vile acts. Because look, man, the punishment should be a deterrent. I'm not saying she should go to jail for the rest of her natural life like she committed some kind of murder, but she should have to sit down and think about her actions for a very long time. And I'm disappointed that that won't be the case here.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to follow that story. Should be interesting in how it develops from the lawsuit. Okay. Neo-Nazi who planned to attack a synagogue, engage in rape, got a gun with the help of an actual cop. I'm gonna bring you this story because it provides a glimpse into the severe reality of racism in this nation. A former Marine and member of the neo-Nazi group called Rape Krieg planned to attack a synagogue with an assault rifle purchased with the help of a New York police officer. Facing several firearm charges, former US Marine Matthew Bellinger is alleged to have prepared an attack on the synagogue, attempted to pass his military training on to his neo-Nazi comrades, and written a screed urging both racial and sexual violence. Racial and sexual violence. He's calling for this right now. Bellinger was arrested on June 10th. This happened in New York and charged with making false statements to a federal firearms licensee in order to make a straw purchase of an assault rifle and handgun. Bellinger pleaded not guilty to the firearm charges during an arraignment hearing on Monday. The Marine plotted a mass murder. I'm gonna give you some background to this. Not only did he plot a mass murder, he also plotted a sexual assault to decrease the number of minority residents in the United States. So you got to think about the evil here, the diabolical nature of the plan. He wanted him and his comrades, so to speak, to go out and rape women. And because of these new laws after Roe v. Wade, many of these women will be forced to bring these children to full term, to birth the fetus into full term. So he wanted to capitalize on this opportunity. In a July 14th court memo, federal prosecutors say that while a Marine, Bellinger plotted for more serious crimes as part of the neo-Nazi group. The memo says Bellinger trained with airsoft guns in the woods of Long Island as part of a plot to attack the Zionist order of governments. The memo also says Bellinger was the subject of an FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force investigation into allegedly plotting to engage in widespread homicide and sexual assault. Much of Bellinger's ideology and plotting, the memo says, is based around a desire to lessen the number of non-white Americans and to rape white women to increase the production of white children. Like many groups in the neo-Nazi ecosystem, there was an inside source who actually flagged authorities about this sick SOB. In May 2021, Bellinger was discharged from the military for misconduct stemming from his affiliation with the neo-Nazis. He was arrested and charged in June of this year and is facing 3 charges stemming from multiple fraudulent firearm purchases wherein someone illegally purchased a firearm for another person. The alleged illegal purchases of firearms for the neo-Nazi came via the help of an unnamed New York police officer. The documents do not indicate if the officer has been charged. Bellinger is from New York, but was stationed at the Marine Corps base in Hawaii at the time of the purchases. So what do you have here? Let's connect the dots. The New York police officer is not being named, he should. The New York police officer subscribes to the same neo-Nazi ideology as he does. This does not start and stop with Mr. Bellinger, a United States Marine. It continues to permeate in the culture of military and policing ranks, directly contextualized through the dynamic of white supremacy in this country. There's a linkage between these positions of authority within law enforcement and military ranks and the ideology of white nationalism. There's more. The officer allegedly purchased firearms for him twice. The first purchase, which took place in 2019, was for a PTR 308 assault rifle. The officer purchased the rifle for Bellinger, who then paid for it via Cash App. Then in April 2020, Bellinger had the officer purchase another gun for him. This one is a Luger, the handgun associated with the Nazis. The officer allegedly purchased the firearm for Bellinger. The Marine celebrated it in a chat he had with other neo-Nazis online. He texted the group that this Luger drip was incoming. I'm gonna start concealed carrying that Luger. So soon their boys gonna be strapped at Applebee's. It's alleged that he discussed attacking a synagogue with another member. Originally, they were discussing shooting up the place of worship, but then decided it would be best if they just burned it down. The group is alleged to have gone so far as to surveil the synagogue to see if it had security cameras. This is still a developing story, okay? We do not have all of the pieces. We do not have all of the pictures confirmed, but we will bring it to you as they come. I needed you to be aware of this. I needed you to know that this is continuing in the United States of America, that this is real. This is not television. This is us. This is America. This is the country we live in. It's ugly and beautiful at the same time. It's chaotic and seemingly peaceful in some places. But there's a fight here. There's a fight that's rooted in the DNA of this country, which is racism, bigotry, hate, violence. That's the DNA of America, like it or not. And then there's this potential America, the America that we're trying to push it to become, the America we would like to see in front of us. All right, Woz, thoughts here.
Yeah, we say it all the time that police deserve even more scrutiny than the average citizen because we place so much responsibility in their hands. And so to hear that a law enforcement officer is engaging in this sort of a fantastical, we're gonna overthrow the country, we're gonna restore white supremacy by impregnating one white woman, this is absolutely crazy stuff that an officer of the law is engaging with. Like, this guy's illegally purchasing firearms for people who want to carry out crimes of terrorism. This is about as horrible as it gets. I would like to see some accountability, not just from the officer involved, but his authority figures. Who trained this guy? Who works with him every day and couldn't notice that he's basically a psychopath? I would like to see some accountability from his peers, to be quite honest, and his superiors.
Yeah, and we still don't have statements from NYPD or the Marine Corps, right, denouncing this individual. Once again, they're likely not going to, Woz, and that's the problem. We have de-evolved so much that 10 years ago, this would have been a major story, leaders of these entities would have said something clearly about this not representing who they are. But what happens today? You have to basically beg almost for a statement from leaders who are connected to individuals like him. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. All right, welcome back. We got a lot of show left. Okay. Road raging New York cop gets so upset, he goes to the house of the person that he has road raged against, knocks on the door, pulls out a gun on the owner of the home, and it is all caught on video. Here it is.
He's on his way.
Your son needs to stay away from my house.
The cop is on the way. Why the you broke my thing?
I didn't break it.
Yes, you're trying.
I didn't break it. I pushed it forward. That's all I did.
Well, he's broke it off. You pushed it forward, right?
I pushed it forward. That's
what are you doing on my property?
Break it.
What are you doing here? Get off my property.
What is your son coming by my house? Don't touch me. Step
Get
back.
off my property.
Step back.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me. Don't hit me.
Touch me again.
Don't touch me.
Again. You're on my house. Touch me again. Touch me
Get
again.
out of here with the pen.
You want to
do this? I'm a police officer.
Really?
I'm a police officer. Get the pen away. Back up. Back up.
Really? What are you doing?
Back up.
What are you doing?
Back up.
I'm videotaping you.
Back up. Okay?
You're not supposed to pull that
Your
out.
son's driving past my house, telling his friend to drive past my house, casing my house.
You gun out me?
Casing. You almost stabbed me with a fucking pen.
What?
You just threatened to stab me with the pen on camera.
If you touch me again. What you doing?
You just threatened to stab me with a pen.
Which precinct you work?
You just threatened to stab me with a pen.
Which precinct you work?
Okay? You just threatened to stab me with a pen.
Really?
You want the cops here? Get the cops here.
Yeah, they are coming.
That's fine.
You put a gun out on me.
Tell your son to stay away from my house.
You put a gun out on me. That's why I'm videotaping you.
Yeah, because you put a pen to my neck.
I said if you touch me again, and I said
to my neck. Doesn't matter. You put a pen to my neck.
This cop is out of damn control. Put up his picture full mask. We got some work to do here. His name is Douglas Debonay. This guy was an off-duty cop at the time of this. He was not on duty. He goes to somebody else's home and pulls his gun out. He draws down on the owner of the house. Let me give you background to the insanity of this New York police officer. Discovered by a couple on their return home, he was having a tantrum on their front porch. Following a road rage incident with their college student son. Officers arrested and charged the now suspended cop without pay. They charged him with criminal mischief and menacing. Okay? The cop was also issued a stay away order, but the family calls the charges a slap on the wrist, and I agree. Let me give you some more. Investigators say the 24-year-old Stony Brook student was driving down the street he lives on. His neighbor, the off-duty officer, was coming in the opposite direction and forced him to move over and slow down. Words were exchanged. Instead of retreating, the gentleman said, "If I catch you on my block again, I'm going to effing kill you," the son's father said. The son phoned his parents to say their neighbor was following him. They told him to drive to the precinct. On the way at a red light, Debonay allegedly exited his car, enraged, and punched out the student's rear view mirror and drove off. See, that's the reason. If nothing else, that's the reason these charges should be much more severe. There's more. Hours later, the officer, Debonay, confronted them on their porch. He's still raging. Hours later. It was then the family learned their neighbor was a cop. The family called 911 and Officer Debonay was arrested for menacing with a weapon and criminal mischief and has been suspended without pay from the NYPD. Now, don't you find this quite fascinating? So he's suspended without pay for misdemeanors. If he would have shot an unarmed black person in the back, he would have been suspended with pay. He would still get money right now. Isn't that an interesting dynamic here in the New York Police Department? The victim is an accountant and says that's why he had a pen in his pocket and waved it. Officer Debonay in the video said that was why he pulled out his gun. The victims say they were one of two families of color on the street and claim to feel ostracized since Debonay moved in. The family says they believe the incident could be racially motivated. The victim, who wants to remain unidentified, said, "I thought I was going to die right here on my porch. I'm still shaking." I can imagine. You have somebody who has pulled out a gun, number one, and then they say they the police. Okay, yeah, that would shake anybody up. But let's look at the reality of this. Number one, the officer should have been charged with felonies here. Not only did he harass the college student, break property or damage property, he then decided to continue with that rage and that criminal act and go to his home. Pulls out a gun on the owner. I'm also concerned now about the background of this cop. If he's willing to act in this way while he's off duty, what do you imagine he's done while he's on duty? See, those are the questions that have to come to the forefront of situations like this. It's not just the incident. It's also the background, the buildup, the why. Now the who. Who are you? What kind of character do you have? What's your record? We don't know the record. You know why? Because NYPD does not make it available. They're not forced to. Woz, what are your thoughts on this?
This guy probably should lose his job, or at the worst, be assigned to permanent desk duty. This guy should not be allowed to carry a firearm. He clearly doesn't have a hold of his emotions, and he's reckless and out of control. He should never be allowed on the street. He shouldn't be able to have a gun and badge and deal with citizens on a day-to-day basis, because he clearly has an anger issue and just shows absolutely no restraint. And my thing about these damn cops and how soft they are, this dude has a pen, and you telling me you're somebody who can handle yourself and you pull out a gun? You're a coward and nobody respects you. It's craziness.
It's insane. And yeah, he pulled out a pen and said, "If you touch me again, this is the weapon I have. This is what I would do to you if you touch me again." You can't forget, the cop is on his property and trespassing. This is criminal
and
trespassing.
Harassing him. Yeah.
And harassing him. There you go. A councilwoman hits a man on a bicycle with her car and keeps going. It is a hit and run. I got the video. Here it is. So this councilwoman hit an individual with her vehicle. Let's put her picture up full mass. She's out of Jersey City. Jersey City Councilwoman Amy DeGise has been charged with hitting a bicyclist and fleeing the scene of an accident. Okay, she did it. 31 years of age. Excuse me, the 31-year-old victim, his name is Andrew Black. Andrew Black was hit by a member of council. Let me give you some background to the incident. The incident occurred around 8 a.m. on July 19th. As a first-term Jersey City councilwoman, Amy DeGise was seen on the city's closed-circuit TV cameras driving north on Martin Luther King Drive. She had a green light and was going through the intersection when her Nissan Rogue struck the bike, sending the rider flying into the street. Now, this is the part where it absolutely makes zero sense whatsoever that she decided to flee the scene. You see, she actually had the green light, okay? Accidents happen, but she did have the green light. Once she hit this individual with enough impact to kill him, he could be dead. She decided not to check, she decided not to stop, she decided not to provide common decency. She just kept riding, which makes me question what was going on with you at that time, councilwoman, where you would not stop for an accident that seemingly may not have been your fault. What else was happening with you that day where you did not stop, provide common humanity? You are elected to a position of public trust. These are things you do not do, ma'am. At first, Andrew Black claimed he had the green light, but officials say he was mistaken. However, it's not who had the right of way in the incident that has people upset. It's what the councilwoman did immediately afterward that people said was wrong. The driver, the daughter of longtime Hudson County Executive Tom DeGise, did not stop or even slow down to check on the cyclist. Andrew Black told the HUD Post that he works for Uber Eats and was about to pick up a delivery when he was hit. I look left, suddenly I just hear bah. I get hit. I roll over and I'm in such pain. Luckily, the surrounding citizens were super nice to me, Mr. Black said. After the incident, Andrew Black had to be taken to the hospital for injuries. The DeGise has been charged with failure to report the accident and leaving the scene and must appear in court. The DeGise was cited for failure to report the accident, leaving the scene. Her first court date has been scheduled for Jersey City Municipal Court, August 15th. Although it's likely her case will be moved out of the city and probably out of Hudson County since her father is in charge of the county. Okay, her daddy is the executive for the whole county. Okay, once again, you may not have been in the wrong for the accident matter. You are a privileged individual. You have resources, political power, influence, access to attorneys. Your daddy runs the county. Accident not your fault. You mean to tell me with all of those variables working in your favor, you can't stop to check on a human being that you just hit with your car? Who are you? What kind of character do you have? Why do people elect you? Why do people give you a position of public trust if you can't even be trusted to do the common decent thing? The DeGise has not apologized for the hit and run. No apology whatsoever, none. The DeGise has declined comment, but said in NJ.com, and I quote, "I acknowledge this unfortunate event yesterday, and I'm thankful that no one was seriously hurt." No apology to the community that elected her. No apology to the man she damn near killed. Just an acknowledgement that it was bad. A fellow councilman urged her to resign. Ward E Councilman James Solomon released a statement Wednesday morning after viewing the video saying, leaving the scene of a crash is illegal. Doing so demonstrated a callous disregard for the life and health of the victim she hit. Public servants must be held to a higher standard, while Councilmember DeGise is entitled to forgiveness and her day in court. Both should come as a private citizen. She should resign. If she fails to do so, she should be recalled. There's a petition now to get her out of office. Let's put that graphic up. There is now a call, a significant call, and it's growing, of signatures in her city telling the councilwoman to resign. Wosny, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't see how she can keep this job. Basically, the people put their trust in you that you're gonna make the right decisions in their honor, in their favor, when nobody's looking, essentially. And this woman runs a guy over at 8 a.m. and leaves the seat. Like, if she's willing to do that in broad daylight on a pretty busy street, might I add, what isn't she willing to do? Right, we're just talking about basic humanity here, checking in on the guy, and I already know why she fled the scene, Dr. Richey. Just blind ambition, just like, oh my God, my career as a nobody, nobody's ever heard of me, council person has barely started, and I'm gonna be president one day. And she saw all of that go up in smoke, and so she did the stupid thing and fled the scene instead of just doing the humane thing and just checking on this guy.
Right,
you know.
And she wasn't even thinking logically, because that's your city. Your daddy is the executive of the county. You're a council member. You mean to tell me you don't know where the city cameras are located? Okay. All right, we got more on the other side. It's Indisputable, stick and stay. All right, welcome back. This is gruesome. A teenager, Illinois, is in the hospital after cops savagely beat him. Here's the video.
These cops is fighting this little kid. Ooh.
To traditional tank water.
Why is they beating him like this? It's a little old boy.
Dreams come true. Visit
Yeah, Diddy, I'm getting this on camera. Why is they beating him up like this? Y'all, this is a little kid. I don't even want to get over that because they police be doing dumb getting the shooting and
Oak Lawn Police. Okay, they ganged up on this kid. They beat him up. You saw it clearly. All right, let's show a picture of the damage they did. All right, that's the damage. In a Facebook post, Karam Otts identified the victim as his cousin. I'm gonna read from his post. This is my cousin. A friend gets pulled over with no reason, and my cousin, victim getting brutally beat by Oak Lawn Police, who's in the backseat, gets questioned and forced out of the car. And out of fear, he runs across the street and gets tackled by the cops who claim he was reaching in his bag when he's trying to cover his face as he was getting punched over and over. Then he gets dragged to the cop car, almost unconscious. He's screaming in pain for 5 minutes until they bring the ambulance and he gets transferred to Christ Hospital and then handcuffed to the bed as he's leaking for over 30 minutes. He was not seen or checked on. The cop at the scene claims they did not beat him and the bruise was from the tackle when they caught him. That's what they claim. Now we got the video. The video is contrary to the claim of the police. Okay, Oak Lawn Police put out a statement. They put out this statement Thursday morning saying and acknowledging that his officers got into a physical confrontation, as they are contextualizing it, with the subject after they fled during a traffic stop and refused to obey the officer's command. We don't have the information of the officers yet, but I do have the police chief. Let's put him up. His name is Daniel Vittorio. Daniel said the subject was armed at the time, unlawfully with a semi-automatic handgun. We have nothing to verify that, okay? And that's not part of the initial record. The department also says it is investigating the incident. Well, there you go. As long as the police investigate the police, everything will be okay. That is the problem, continual in policing. We are saying that cops should investigate cops when things like this happen, creating more distrust between the community and policing, right? This is one of those don't believe what your eyes tell you defenses from the cops. They are using fists. They are punching a kid while he is subdued on the ground. Was he trying to cover his face? Yes, because he was being punched in it. Wise thoughts here.
Yeah, 3 pretty huge dudes beating up on a scrawny kid. This is textbook just police brutality. And I pray that if these guys aren't disciplined harshly, that at least that kid and his family could get some restitution in the pocketbook. I would like to see them sue the pants off of this police department and get some just due, because this is disgusting.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, so there's a January 6th rioter. He has received a harsher sentence than pretty much any other rioter. They were throwing the book at this guy, okay? Trump supporter, terrorist attack, January 6th, he gets the harshest sentence. Put up his picture. Yep, he's black. Isn't that something? Let's keep his picture up. This is so ironic. A black Washington, D.C. man was sentenced to 63 months in prison after he did what all of the other attackers did. He pleaded guilty. He pleaded guilty to the assault. He pleaded guilty to his crimes. He pleaded guilty to being there. And he got a harsher sentence than virtually everybody else who pleaded guilty, all right? Only one other Capitol rioter has received a harsher sentence than him. Isn't that something? Prosecutors asked the judge to ponder 60 months. Prosecutors said, we think 60 months will work. And the judge said, no, we're going to do 63. I don't even think the judge knows exactly where that bias came in at. The judge just said, well, damn, what we give these white people? 60? We got to give you 63, sir. I'm being hyperbolic, okay? But damn, you just had to give him 63 because everybody else got 60. I don't know. Why is this?
It's perfect. It's perfect. And I know we shouldn't condone discriminatory sentencing guidelines. I get it. But you should have stayed your black ass home. I'm sorry. Like, that's the first thing you learn. As soon as you ever hang out with some white boys, your parents tell you, now listen, white boys gonna do some craziness. Don't follow them. You will get handled if you do. The rules don't apply to them like they apply to you. This man took his black ass to not just a Trump rally, a Trump riot. He thought he could participate and just get out unscathed like the rest of them. He deserves this, Dr. Richey. I'm glad. Justice is served.
The irony is unreal, man. I mean, literally. And I promise you, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not gonna come out and defend him. I promise you, Matt Gaetz won't come out and say, this is atrocious. Like, nobody's gonna defend you, guy. You got yourself into this situation, you gotta get yourself out. I'm sure you thought it was gonna go a different way, it did not. We tried to warn you, we've been warning you for years about getting down with that group. It is what it is at this point. We cannot save you, you are lost. All right. Wosny, always a pleasure, dear brother, having you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Man, always a great time. I would just tell people to check out Woke Bros with me and Nando Vila. Just, some lighthearted political commentary, and check out my work at The Ringer, ringer.com, Ringer NBA show on every single podcast you get. Check it out.
Always good to have you, my friend. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. All right, don't forget Reactions with Rayvana. Well, that's next. Let me say this on a personal note. Doing this kind of work is not easy, okay? You hear me often say, criticism is the price you pay for leadership. And the day you are unwilling to be criticized is the day you are unfit to lead anybody. I know that it's difficult to take leadership stances, especially with the political narrative being so severe. But I want to remind you that when you get criticized for standing up for right, when you get criticized for standing up and advocating for groups that are historically marginalized, wear that criticism as a badge of honor, all right? You are joining a pretty dynamic club, a dynamic club that has been led by individuals like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Malcolm, and others, all right? Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable. Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richey. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it though.